Welcome to Season 2 of Robbie Burns and Friends. This season is all about my brand new book, Digital Organization Tips for Music Teachers, which is first in the Prestissimo series, a series of technology tip books for music educators, published by Oxford University Press. Each episode, I will discuss one chapter of the book with an expert on that subject. For example, on the episode about note-taking, I will chat with a music education specialist who is an expert on note-taking. The goal of the podcast is to offer complementary material, not simply a regurgitation of the content in the chapter being discussed. Think of these as kind of like a B-side of each chapter of the book, or even better yet, a counterpoint, complete with meta-discussion and even an extension of the ideas already in the book into new territory as provided by the experience of the guest. This week's guest, the choir director at the school where I work, friend and colleague, Nick Dougis. So every guest on this season so far has been an expert in a topic of one of the chapters of my book. So I was looking for someone to discuss the part of the productivity chapter that was about basic stuff like email applications, contacts, and calendars. And
I was that basic person.
Emphasis on basic. So with me today is Nick Dougis, the choir director at the school where I teach. And we were kicking around the idea, I was having trouble finding a guest for this topic because it's so general. And we were kicking around the idea, what if an absolute non-expert came on to discuss this topic? And the more we talked about it, the more I thought it would be possibly hilarious and also an opportunity to explore kind of the counterpoint. You would not consider yourself organized.
No, not at all.
And
I'm anti-organization.
And you are also very adverse to technology.
Not very adverse.
Just adverse.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So, I mean, there's a lot of avenues we can go. We can, I think one thing maybe that can happen is I can walk you through some of the stuff I talk about in this chapter. Maybe we can we have our MacBooks out. Mm-hmm. We can talk through some of these things. We can talk about, why technology is not compelling to you, where technology fails you, where it helps you, if at all, and then kind of just go at it and hack through this chapter.
Let's do it.
So the chapter covers, it actually covers a lot of task management software, which actually was discussed in a previous episode with Dr. Frank Buck. The rest of the chapter talks about web browsers, mail, contacts, and calendars, and managing the type of data. So basically communication, time, calendar stuff, and then people who are in your life. So let's do it. Why are you so adverse to using technology for your job?
Okay, here's the thing. So I love technology in certain respects. Site Reading Factory has changed my life. Can we talk about Site Reading Factory?
Totally.
So it's this awesome website where you can go on, and my students sight read with it every single day, and they've become sight reading wizards, and when we go to adjudication, it's amazing. So Site Reading Factory has completely changed the way I teach choir.
SiteReadingFactory.com for those listening.
SiteReadingFactory.com. Yeah. You need a subscription, but it's great.
No, there's free stuff.
Oh, there is? I didn't know that.
You can generate stuff in levels 1 through 6 music, I believe, in any key up to 8 measures. Mm-hmm. I don't think students can, you can put something on, you can project something on the screen and it will automatically generate based on the parameters of which types of note values, which key areas, and what type of register. Mm-hmm.
And now in the choir room at our school, we have the new Epson SmartLink projector, so that's cool because the kids mark everything up and we talk about half steps and whole steps, and it's great. So in those respects, I love technology. So it's not I guess I'm kind of lying when I say I'm adverse to technology. I like technology, but I'm so disorganized in life. So Post-it notes and all. I've never written anything down, even since I was little. I never used my agenda, and I've prided myself on the fact that I've never used an agenda book ever. So then I think all these technology things are great, but then I'm adverse to being organized. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I know this is not really.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, first of all, okay, so a couple of layers to unpack. You are using a smart projector every day in class.
Yeah.
And you're using technology that can generate musical examples that are pedagogically sound and make your choir sound better. Mm-hmm. So you're already using technology better than probably most music teachers.
Cool.
And you're using it in a student-facing manner.
Yeah.
which honestly, my book is like really more focused on the personal productivity end of things.
That's what I'm adverse to.
Good.
So convert me.
Well, I mean, my story is in the book in the first chapter and is like sort of sprinkled throughout the book. I mean, the general gist of it is that I don't have enough time to deal with the non-musical responsibilities of the profession. So,
and technology makes it easier for you to make it less time.
Yes, takes time. Like a lot of the nerd stuff I do, like scripting and like making stuff, like tapping a button on my computer and then making 8 things happen. Like that's all just because, well, it's like at a certain point it just became fun and I liked doing it. Mm-hmm. But at first it was just like, how can I save one less tap on my phone to do this thing? How can I get this result quicker? And so it just eventually became something that I enjoyed for itself. But it started with this inability to function. And it's actually funny. People all the time, and now that we work together, this is our first year working together, but now anytime someone who knows about this project, the book, who knows me at some point comes to the like bitter realization that I'm actually a disaster. And they always yes, they always joke with me like, what, didn't you write the book? And I'm like, the book is for me. Because I'm a mess.
No, but here's the thing. When I see you at your desk with all of like your screens and all of the things that you're doing, like even before you shoot an email off, you're like marking that you're about to send an email or that you've accomplished the email that you need to send. I'm genuinely impressed with how you use technology. It's crazy the amount of things you know. And I guess why I'm like adverse to things is because it's like so many new things that I would have to learn. Like you can't teach an old dog new tricks kind of a thing. There's just so much that I don't know that I'm kind of overwhelmed by it, and so I like give up.
Well, let's talk about shoot like an email kind of thing. Okay, so here's what would happen if I didn't use any of the stuff in this chapter of the book for email. I would get an email, I would read it, and then I would get another email and I would read it, and I would just start reading emails, and eventually there would be so many email messages that there would be thousands of them, and I would have no idea what I did and didn't do.
That's me every day. Seriously, you know my like really antiquated system? When there's an email that I think I might want to reference in the future, I just flag it. And then I'll be like, red is for, I have like a color system that I don't even know. Like, how do I open up my flagged emails? Flagged. I have some red ones, I have some green ones, I have a purple one, I have a yellow one.
What is the yellow one?
I have literally no idea.
Did that particular email make you feel yellow? Did you feel the color yellow? Was it?
I guess yellow, yeah, it's about adjudication, so I guess it's like a warning, like a yield sign.
Like slow down and read this email.
Slow down, read this, and maybe don't do it right now, but it's yellow. Like red is right now, although I have a lot of red ones that I haven't. Like this doesn't even need to be in here. I just deleted one.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah.
So you were productive during this podcast.
Yep, here I am.
That is digital organization. And the book is super dense. Like I do actually like the deepest I go is there's this little tiny paragraph in the book where I actually do reference AppleScript, which is a scripting language that I use on the Mac to make some stuff happen for me automatically. But that's like the extreme use case, and the book is packaged in a way where hopefully you can just take a little thing here and a little thing there. And that is totally the kind of thing that like there are people who probably wouldn't even think to do that for yellow to mean something.
Yeah.
So it has to mean something to you. But anyway, so my way of dealing with that problem is I have to, like, what's in my email inbox I think of every single message as a decision that I didn't make yet. And I don't want there to be decisions that I didn't make or things that I didn't do that I should have to do. But it also stresses me out having it be constantly there looking at me. So what I do is I basically export it to a task manager where I can actually set some parameters that'll help me figure out when and how to deal with it.
So wait, so then you're the kind of person that you delete all of your emails from your inbox?
Yes, I have.
So I'm the type of person that is constantly having to delete emails because I'm at the risk of being over and not being able to receive any more emails. Like in my inbox, I don't know how many I have.
I have 11 email messages in my inbox right now.
I have hundreds. I have probably thousands.
But as of last night, I had 2.
Mine go back to August of 2015 when I joined our school system. I don't delete them.
So I have 1 in here. All of them are less than a day old. But one of them, and this is exactly why I feel like this is a good discussion to have with someone who's technology adverse, is from late November. And the fact is that email has been like stressing me out for like 2 months. And like, so there's a part of this whole process where like the technology does not solve certain problems.
Right.
For example, it's never going to make me want to face.
Anxious.
Yeah. It will never make me less anxious, and it's never going to make me tackle the hard stuff that's on my plate.
Here's my greatest fear. When you delete an email, the paper trail is gone. And what if I need to reference something 2 years later?
Okay, I don't delete, I archive.
I don't even know what that
so
means.
like I just have my, and you can do this. We're going to talk about.
Go?
So Gmail and Exchange, which is what most school districts build their email servers on, something called Exchange, which is a Microsoft.
Yeah, that's what ours is, right?
Right. So it's a Microsoft protocol that basically, it's just a server that stores your email messages. You can, in a client, which we're going to talk about in a minute, you can basically, if you're using an application to check your email instead of going onto a web browser, you can create little hotkeys. So I have mine, when I hit the delete key, it doesn't actually put it in the trash. It puts it in a folder called archived, which means I read it, but it's just sitting there permanently.
Doesn't that have a capacity, though?
So for Gmail, I'm fine with that. I don't ever worry about it. Everything is just left unorganized in the archive folder once I've dealt with it.
Because it's unlimited inbox size?
Correct. Well, it's big enough that I haven't run into a problem. The Exchange server, I have to delete the stuff, but what I do is there's a couple things I do. The first is that I have a rule that I created with our school's email, where anything that has my email address in the to field or in the from field, in other words, I received it or I sent it, it forwards that message to a Gmail account I created called Burns, like then our school district's acronym at gmail.com. So I basically have...
Oh, crazy.
And so
you did that yourself.
I did that myself.
You know, when I taught in a different... Am I allowed to talk about school districts by name?
Yeah, I mean, anyone can look on my website and find out where I work. Howard County Public Schools, everyone.
Yeah, when I used to work in Prince George's County, I think our email service was through Gmail.
Right.
And I never ran into these issues of having
they probably
such a tiny
had
inbox
way
space.
More space.
It was way more space. I end up like almost filling up my inbox on a weekly basis. And over the weekend, when you're being productive, I am sitting at my computer deleting old emails.
Yeah, so it's stressful. And that's just a limitation on our school's server, where basically like we don't have a lot of space. But I have issues where I'll delete them and then empty the trash, and then it'll say, "Cool, you're good. You got 50% more storage." But then like a week later,
it's back up.
All of those messages I deleted are back, and I, for another time. But basically, so what I'm doing with these messages is I'm archiving them and then having them forwarded to a Gmail account where I have access to them. And I actually have that Gmail account forward to my personal Gmail account, but then I set up a rule in the settings where they skip my inbox so I don't ever actually see them, but I can search for them by keyword. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's 2 other real quick tips relating to that, because that was a really good thought. So I can also send, in the last episode of this podcast, Dr. Frank Buck and I talked about note-taking. We talk at length about a piece of software called Evernote.
I know about that.
Yeah,
I had it on my phone at one point.
It's awesome.
Deleted it.
So one thing you can do with it is they give you a special email address that you can basically email. You can forward emails to that special email address, and then it'll save it to your Evernote notebook, where it's text searchable permanently.
Huh.
So like I have put that Evernote email address in my contacts in my phone and I've just labeled it Evernote. So when I get a message that's really, really important,
you send it to your Evernote.
Yeah, I forward it to Evernote, and then it saves it permanently. So that's one thing. But then, like, getting back to this.
So can I say something? Can I ask something? Okay, so you've been talking about, like, we've already talked about multiple things, like Evernote, and you made your own Gmail account.
Right.
I cannot focus on more than one thing. Like, I'm very forgetful. And so I have all of these failed attempts of trying to become organized, and then I forget what I've done, and then I just fall apart. And so I guess that's my point.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Okay. So
how do you remember all of these things that you've set up, because technology doesn't work as well as we want it to? And then you have to remember where you're putting what, and that overwhelms me.
Yeah,
that stresses me out.
It's a problem. So, like, one of the things in a later chapter in the book is about automating stuff. So, like, one of the things that I've automated is I have this little utility on macOS that looks for files in on my hard drive, and it basically will take files, and then I can tell it what to do with them. So, like, when I save a file called like this string of characters, then followed by the word seating chart, then take that file and put it in a folder called seating charts. Something like this. But then I'll maybe later think of a way to do that with a couple less steps. And so like I'll do it with an Apple script. That version of that workflow is in the book too.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a coding language that comes installed on Macs.
But you have to know how to use it.
Yeah.
So it's like a software?
It's on your, it's like you can search for it right now. You can write your own Apple script on your laptop.
Script editor?
Yep. Is it a little scroll icon?
With a pen.
Yep.
Okay, well, I don't even know what to do with that. I'm just going to close it.
So anyway, yeah, I like all these little chains of like all these different services and apps I'm using, and these little chains where like one thing will trigger another thing, It's a lot to manage.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like...
And then be a teacher on top of all that.
But it ultimately makes being a teacher easier. So it's like the overhead is... Oh, I guess you wouldn't call it overhead. I guess the word would be like the upfront work that you have to put into it is 9 out of 10 times worth the payoff. And as soon as it's not, then I ditch it.
You know, a good example of this is this past weekend when we had that, the Hebron Meet the Directors night. We both got the same email, like on a Sunday night, and you took care of it right away in that moment, and I didn't. And I sent that email to my kids like 3 days after you did. Because I like think I can remember it all, and then I don't.
So yeah, I mean that's another thing too. Is like what are some of the pitfalls of using technology, and then what are some of the problems that you face if you don't use technology? So like I guess one of the key areas. Well, hold on, one quick thought, and then there's like a number of interesting ways we could address that topic. Just because we were on the topic of emptying the email inbox, and this does connect.
Yeah.
Having that clarity of space, like I think that what you save by not thinking about all these steps that I've created for myself, all these tools that I'm using, you're saving attention for yourself by not using those tools. But then I am using them, but then I am later reaping the benefit of saving attention, because when that email is in my inbox, it's sitting alongside like 5 other messages that I have to deal with, and so it has like its priority is, highlighted in a way. So I mean, it's just about preserving attention, sanity. I think, and this goes both ways. Like we were just talking with my wife a second ago, who is making all the background noise you hear on this on this episode, and probably for the best. We were just talking about like your listening skills when you are with another person, I think are higher than most people that I know.
Mine?
Yes.
They're a little low, which is funny because I was literally just looking at a Post-it note on my laptop that says email chaperones, and this already happened, and I'm giggling to myself and not listening to what you just said. That's the sound of me crumpling this up. I've accomplished this task. There's also the satisfaction of crumpling up a Post-it note you can't get on a computer.
Oh, you do, because if you use a task manager, like OmniFocus is the one I use, for example, also in a previous episode with Frank Buck, you get to click a little circle, and when you click the circle, it like it crosses off the words. It's okay.
There's a cartoon of all them down.
It's not tactile, but it is the closest thing you're gonna come to a metaphor for crumpling up a piece of paper. Is it?
This is like the Kindle versus real book argument.
I know, exactly. It's that tactile element of it is not there. So I mean,
I'm down to learn some stuff.
Sure. I mean, but the attention is like a serious part of it, though, because I think that you have these frantic moments of being lost in all. Like you might be drowning in email and in tasks, but I think that your brain is probably reallocating that attention to other areas where mine is like stuck on a thing because there's a process in place.
I've never been into processes. Processes?
Whatever you want. All pronunciations are accepted on this show. So I don't know. I think there's like, because it is fiddly. Like, and I think most of the stuff that I use is as least fiddly as it can be. Like getting a task into my task manager is 2 buttons that I hit on my computer.
Is that the thing that you use with your email? Well,
okay, so like OmniFocus it's like a company. Well, it's Omni Group is the company, but they make an app called OmniFocus where it's a Mac app that's basically a to-do list manager, but with lots of features for organizing stuff into projects and, you know, really refined kind of tools. So yeah, they've got a keyboard shortcut where you set a key that you press on your computer's keyboard, and then it pops up with a little bubble. You type in the task, and then you hit enter. So if you're in front of a computer, there is no faster way you can write down something to remember to do later, other than to hit a key, type it in, and hit enter.
Yeah.
Same is true of email. Like since we're on the subject of email and OmniFocus, I'll say like, OmniFocus also supports the feature where they give you a little special email address, and I can forward messages into OmniFocus, where if there are things that I need to deal with but I don't want on my plate, I forward them to, you know, I've got that special email address. It's a contact in my contacts list called OmniFocus. So I literally say forward.
That's not the Gmail one, or it is the...
No, it doesn't matter, because I can forward any email from any account that I have. My work email account, my personal email account, all of them can be forwarded to that special OmniFocus email address. And then it shows that subject line of the email as a task in my to-do list with an expandable note that has the whole body of the email message for reference.
So the tasks that you create for yourself are out of the email? Like if it says like respond to this by whatever, like let me know how many kids are coming to adjudication this year, like
Great.
How many buses you need, you would open up OmniTask and say reply with bus number.
All right, good example. Okay, so someone emails me like, I need the numbers of all of your students and all of your bands.
That was a thing.
Right, it was a thing like in the past couple weeks. You know, send those, and I don't think I actually did that task because we have another band director at our school, so we share that load. But the way I would have handled that is I would have hit the forward button in my email browser, and it would have created.
What's the forward? Oh, I got it.
Yeah, I just hit the button.
I thought you meant on the keyboard.
Well, but okay, we're gonna get to clients too.
I also like how I'm the youngest person who works in the music department at my school, and I'm the least capable of using technology.
Well, you make up for it in your knowledge of the and your knowledge of the Snapchat user interface.
Thank you.
So
filter game is strong.
Filter game is so strong.
Okay, so you click the filter button on
forward.
You click the forward button on your mail.
Yes,
app,
and then I forward it to
OmniFocus.
I type it in as if it's the name of the recipient. It goes into OmniFocus, and then when
that overwhelms me.
But it doesn't, though, because you're stressing about that email, and meanwhile, I have archived that email, and now what I can do in OmniFocus is I can go in there, and I can give that task a project it's related to, but most importantly, a date that I want to deal with it, and a date that it's due. And so what happens is I don't think about that email message ever again until the day it's due, when I open OmniFocus, and it's like, here's your list of stuff to do today. And it turns red if it's due, or orange, yellow if it's due that day, and red if it's overdue.
Wow. Okay, that scares me. Here's a real... Okay. There are times, like right now, I really need a haircut badly. But I have not gone and gotten a haircut. It's like, I'm like 3 weeks overdue. So if I were to be given a deadline on a day, it wouldn't even matter.
You would be given a deadline on a day to get your hair cut?
For like your OmniFocus thing, if there was it said you need to do this today, I still wouldn't do it.
Okay, we're getting to the philosophy. This is great. Okay, because the app truthfully doesn't matter. You can use any app you want. You could use the Reminders app on your iPhone to manage this stuff. It's not powerful enough for me. But what matters is if that's not something that's actually due that day, it should even if you use a task app, you should not mark something like that due. And here's what happens.
Oh, okay.
If I mark stuff that I can survive the day without completing as due, then all of it just becomes endless noise in my system. And I still fail at this all the time. Like right now, I have 10 things that are due today. I'm going to go through my OmniFocus due list today and show you how bad I am at my own advice. Okay.
Do it.
I have to call the parents of a student to tell them something that he was doing that was not good in class yesterday. That's due today. That's something that's really important. I communicate to them, but it's also something that like I can survive this day without doing.
So then does that get like a different...
It shouldn't have been given a due date in the first place, but I'm failing my own system. Okay?
And yet you have a podcast.
Yeah, that's right. They give one to me. I don't know why they do. I have to buy a plane ticket to go to present at the Texas Music Educators Association conference. Okay, tricky one. If I want to get a good deal on a flight, that really is due today. But I can survive the day without doing it. Let me find you an actual thing that's in this system.
And did that have a due date?
No, it doesn't. The due date, I could buy a plane ticket that morning if I really wanted to.
When you put it in there, did you put a due date?
I did. It's today because I wanted to do it today so I can save money on the flight. Will I do it today? Maybe.
No, probably not.
Here's one that's actually that I think is due today. And it's funny because it's something that's personal and so low priority and also makes me a huge nerd. I am going to play with some friends of mine Dungeons and Dragons tonight.
We've talked about this.
And the Dungeon Master wrote a segue, which is basically a short story that bridges the story of the last session to the one that we're going to do tonight. And I have to read it, and that sounds super low priority in comparison to this other stuff, but I will make everyone really mad if I haven't read it by the time...
You put this on your work OmniFocus?
OmniFocus is life, man. It's everything.
See, so then here's the other thing. I'm a very black and white human being. We've talked about this.
Right.
And we literally were just talking about this before this podcast, but I don't like mixing work and personal, so that would really stress me out to have... Is there a way that you could have two different OmniFocus accounts, one for real life? Well, I just would never use it for real life.
Probably, yeah.
But could you do two?
Yeah, I think you could have two different databases. It wouldn't be ideal, but what you could do, so here's where OmniFocus, and we talked a lot about OmniFocus in the last episode, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but you can basically, you can create something called a perspective, which is like a certain type of view that shows you a specific like funnel of information. So you can highly customize it so that, like, for example, I can create a context for like stuff that I can only do at home, so that when I want to see what are the things I can do right now, I have an afternoon off, I can just look at stuff that can happen at home.
It's almost like the Notes app or the Reminders app on your iPhone.
Right. It's like a list, yeah. But it's based less around the idea of titles of things and more around the idea of like, what are the things that I can do in this place. Mm-hmm. And I have context for people too. I actually have a context for you and for every person who works in our building who tasks are... Yeah, I have a context called Dogus. And it's basically like if there's something that I need to do that involves a conversation with you, I tag it with your name so that if I see you, then I can pull up the whole list. I can filter it based on stuff that we can talk about.
Wow.
I don't have to use it that often because I see you frequently enough.
Too often.
Yeah, a little bit. So anyway, coming back to email, I mean, this stuff... You filter this email out of your inbox, and all I'm simply doing is I'm just reallocating it to a place where I can better control when and where I want to deal with it. Mm-hmm. So it's a couple of extra steps, but if you think about it, though, I'm just tapping one button to forward. I don't even have to type in the word OmniFocus. I type in OM, and then it completes the rest. And I hit Enter, and then that's out of email. Done. Archived.
Are there ever times when... I guess I just think to myself, like, instead of going through all of that, I could just stop being a lazy person and I could just get done what I need to get done right in that moment.
Yeah, so OmniFocus is actually built around...
Things that are coming up.
No, it's built around a philosophy in a book by David Allen called Getting Things Done. And one of the many interesting ideas outlined in that book is... the idea that basically when you're reviewing your stuff that's on your plate, if you can complete something in under 2 minutes, just do it right then and there.
Yeah. So then you wouldn't even use OmniFocus. You
right.
Just
do it.
Get it done.
I mean, and I'll sometimes add that kind of stuff, but as I'm reviewing it to see like when I should give it a due date or a deadline or which project it's a part of, if it's something that I can just do right away, like ask this, like for example, scheduling a hair appointment is under 2 minutes. So I'll do it. And then move on. So it's super helpful. And with the email stuff, you get a clearer inbox, and then you have, you are reallocating that stuff. So you're not taking less work, but you're clearing mental space and attention for other stuff.
No, it's totally true.
So you recently started using an email client on your work laptop.
I did.
For the first time. And for those listening who don't know what an email client is, it's similar to like when you use a mail app on your phone or your tablet. Your computer has one of those too. If you're on, for example, a Mac, there's an app on your Mac called Mail. And basically, it's functionally the same. You input your credentials, your username, your password, and then you can funnel all the same exact messages through that email inbox as you would elsewhere. Now, most people who have work email addresses are going to the web, where there's like a little portal.
I hate that.
Yeah, it's not. So see, as a recent email client convert, someone who was going to the web browser to check their email, wouldn't you say that using a mail client is a far better experience?
It's way better, and you can tell when people don't use mail or whatever it's called because their emails are formatted differently. They have like different fonts and different signatures.
Yep. It can drive a man mad.
It really can.
So,
that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Now, my favorite thing, now see, this is not going to jive with you because my favorite thing about using an email client is that I can funnel my Gmail account and my Exchange account through it and see all of my messages in the same place.
I do that on my phone.
Do you really? You put your work email into your phone?
Well, I have in the past. Right now, no.
Okay.
So, but I have like the all inboxes, and then you can, siphon. I have done that. Is that impressive to you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's surprising. I guess I'm impressed.
Thank you.
So, I mean, the email client is basically, if you're wondering what is good about using an email, well, you tell me, since you're the guest.
I like that it shows the whole thread of all the emails on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a horrible memory, so I can reference something quickly. If you're responding to a parent or responding to an administrator or, whoever, they'll mention something and then I'll be like, oh, I forget exactly what that was, and you just scroll right down and it's right there. So that's great. I don't know if it's like that on the web, I forget. I just said I have a bad memory. I also like, I don't know, that's it.
All right, so a couple of other things you can do with an email client. So everything is saved locally, so you do not have to be connected to the internet to see the messages that it's already downloaded.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't know how to put that into words.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of nice. You can you can of course use you can use keyboard shortcuts on the web. I just find that in general the user experience is a little more delightful. Like the user interface elements look crisper and clearer. Like when you scroll, it's smoother. Mm-hmm. Buttons respond faster. It's just in general. I mean, this, you're an Apple user. Like if you like that aesthetic of stuff feeling like it's got
unified.
Yeah, it feels like a unified experience.
Yeah.
Especially if you're combining inboxes. For those of you who are into that, it makes the experience of dealing with email feel like less cluttered and confusing.
It also feels more personal because it's on your computer and you don't need to log on to something else to open it up. You just open it right up.
Right. You don't have to enter
yours.
Yeah, you don't have to enter your password each time. Huge reason to use it. So there's a couple of things if you're ever willing to take it to the next level. There are a couple of really good Mac and iPhone in particular email services that are like apps that add power features. So you have this installed on your issued laptop. Microsoft Outlook is not amazing on the Mac, but it's really, really cool on the phone. It adds a number of things. It shows you your calendars, your contacts, your file library all in the same app as your email. So you can really easily tap one button. And
I did use Outlook for a little bit, and it is cool to have the calendar and the email in the same thing.
Right.
Yeah. Switching back and forth between apps is a little bit strange. Is that something that Apple would ever think about changing, or why don't they do that?
Have calendar in the same app as mail?
Yeah.
I think it's a philosophical thing. I think Apple is really good at making pretty solid, well thought out apps that do basics really well. I don't think that their software is intended to always be for like the power user type of person, which Microsoft Outlook definitely is, especially if you're on a mobile device. Their mobile email and calendar and contacts app is just awesome.
So
like
it's
the way
an app?
it's an app you can download on your phone or on your Mac. Outlook. It's really good. Another good one. This one is just iOS and Mac only. It's called Airmail.
Never heard
It
of it.
costs a couple dollars, but I've been using it lately. It integrates really seamlessly with all the stuff that we've been talking about in my book.
And what does it do differently than Mail? Or that's just for your phone, you're saying?
So, and for the Mac.
Okay, and how is it different than regular Mail?
So it just eliminates more and more a tapping around out of the process. So like it knows what OmniFocus is and knows how to work with it. So like I don't even have to do that it makes that forwarding thing I described earlier feel like a mess because there's a button in the email client with the OmniFocus logo and you just click it and then it sends it straight to OmniFocus.
And this is made by Apple or it's...
No, it's like a third party thing. It works with Evernote. It's got a whole suite of Mac and iPhone apps that it plays with where like you can basically tap buttons to send data out of it into other apps.
Why don't you use that, or you do?
I do use it. It's my preferred email client right now.
What does it look like?
Do you want to see the Mac or the phone version?
Mac version.
Okay.
Well, computer version, whatever.
Yeah, so it looks like this.
Oh, I see you using that at work all the time.
Yeah. So...
Oh, then what does OmniFocus look like? I guess I thought that's what OmniFocus was.
Looks like this.
Oh.
So, yeah. Airmail is... it's got a lot of power features. It's got great keyboard shortcuts. Just what are some quick things it does? It's got snooze features, so you can swipe on a message using either your thumb on the phone or the trackpad on a Mac to like snooze an email message for a day later or for any time in the future. That's another great hack where if you don't want to use a task app, but you want to get email out of your hair, you can just simply...
Oh, and then it'll reappear.
Yeah, it'll like
as
snooze.
like a fresh email.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so there's a free Mac and iOS only app called Spark Mail that has that same feature.
I feel like I should be taking notes.
Well,
or I could listen later.
I'm going to have show notes posted on this blog post.
Oh, great.
With like all links to download all the apps. Oh, I got it. This is such a disaster.
Did it stop again?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to have a blog post, the blog post that I'm going to post this episode to. We'll have like show notes basically with links to all of the download.
That's cool.
Stuff.
Here's a technology question for you.
Is this like IT now?
A little bit, yeah. So last night we were at a concert with my choirs, Robbie knows, and I give my students my cell phone number in case of emergencies because their phones all need to be away. So I say, please text this to your parents, and if they need to get in touch with you, they'll text me. And I say, please, this is only in emergencies. I never want you to ever text me. Please, I don't want to get pictures of goats at 2 a.m. And one of my students said, I'm going to email you pictures of goats. And when I just tried to open up this email, it's just question marks in boxes. So what's up with that?
That probably is an emoji that you have not, and you haven't updated the operating system to support. Oh, no. I think those are pictures that for whatever reason didn't load.
Oh.
I know that icon.
Okay. That's sad.
So yeah, Spark Mail is free. It has the snooze feature. It's free on Mac. It's free on iPhone. It's free on iPad. It's got other really cool power features, like it also will send stuff straight into Evernote. It has this great feature where it will automatically organize your mail by the type of thing it is. So it will categorize all of your junk newsletter stuff in a special place, separate from the stuff that actually is high priority and needs attention.
Have you ever had a time where it glitched and something important went in there? Because that's one of my greatest fears. That in all of these productivity apps, it gets messed up, and then a note from my boss gets lost.
Yeah, so there are problems. So Spark Mail is not actually filtering it; it's just organizing what's there. Mm-hmm. So never a problem with that. I do use a service that's mentioned in the book called Sanebox, which is a paid subscription service, but basically its primary feature of many is that it will take emails and it will learn which ones are important to you, and then it will filter your inbox so that you only see the important ones. It basically sends the rest to folders based on habit. So like I have a folder called Later.
That's free?
No, it's paid.
Oh.
But it's trainable. So if they accidentally put a message into the Later folder that I want to see, I drag it into the inbox and then it learns. But yes, I have been burnt before. So there have been times where I'm like, there was a time where I was trying to get a quote for something I needed to buy, a method book I needed to buy for the band. And I kept asking the vendor, like, can you please send me this invoice? And he's like, I am sending you this invoice over and over again. And then like 2 weeks later, I went in my Later folder and I was like, oh, there's 5 invoices. Oops. So it's not perfect, but I bet that most people, if they open their inbox right now, 9 out of 10 messages would be something that does not require their immediate attention or their attention at all.
Correct. Yeah.
So anyway, these are some cool email tricks. I mean, I guess the natural segue from email is into calendar, which in the book I explain more or less the same way, which is that most people don't think of their calendar app on their phone and their tablet as something that you can actually use on the web. Like people go to googlecalendar.com and like do all that stuff on the web when they're sitting in front of a desktop computer. Mm-hmm. Like not everyone knows that you can actually use the calendar app on a PC and like plug all that same data into it.
And have it show up.
Have it show up in a separate standalone application.
I didn't know any of that until this year.
Right. And so actually we should definitely talk about this because this is...
Yeah, we should because... So Real Life Problem, the concert that I was just talking about that happened last night, was a direct conflict with the play at our school, and opening night was the same night as my concert, and like 18 of my people in my choirs couldn't come to the concert because they were at the play, and it's because I messed up sharing... I put this one concert on a different calendar and thought I had shared it and didn't share it, and there was just this miscommunication. It was awful. Okay, so technology fails from time to time. I should explain, though, this problem, because this problem is the result of actually a super amazing, productive thing that our music team has done this year. I agree. Yeah, no, it's been awesome. Okay, so basically... So awesome that other people have come and used it as well. Right. Yeah. Okay, so if you want to learn the basics of how to set up calendars that sync from across all of your different devices, this chapter in the book is really helpful for those basics. But if you want to go a little bit beyond, one thing this is a dream I've had. This is like a dream that I've had for years. Basically, our 4-person music team created a Google account. Well, you created it for us. Oh, I appreciate it. I did nothing. Well, I also am not the one who populates it with all the events. That's more tedious than creating the account. I populate mine. That's true. So we got a Gmail account, and within that Gmail account, set up a calendar for every one of us for all of the ensembles that we teach every day, and then a calendar for all of the sectionals we teach. And we have a sectional schedule at our school where basically students are pulled out of another class once every week or so to get there will be a clarinet, a 6th grade clarinet class will happen every other Monday or so, and then we'll pull them out. So we wanted a way to basically share this information in sync across all of our calendars, but we also wanted a way that if one of us needed to cover another class, we could really easily, right from in our calendar app, change who the teacher was. Mm-hmm. So we each have a sectional calendar, we each have an ensemble calendar, which reflects the sectionals and the large ensembles that we teach. So what I do on my calendar is I have a list of everything I'm responsible for with a 5-minute alarm every day. So every 5 minutes before a class, it tells me what's about to happen in my calendar, which room of the building that class is in, and I can see all of yours as well. Yeah, I haven't set any up. But your alarms tell me to end class. Yes. So yes, it's very, very helpful. But what's cool about this is I can check off the calendars that are not my own in my calendar client so that, I only see yours. Yes, I only see mine, and it's great because I'm on my Apple Watch. It tells me my next thing. So I always see what time it is, what time I should be ending class, and then which class is happening next and where it is, all without even taking my phone in my pocket. Mm-hmm. And then you guys can see it too.
Now, if I'm going to be out of the building and the other band director can cover my class, all I have to do in the calendar app is change the calendar that class is related to from my name to his, and now it shows up on his calendar and not mine. We can, in the notes field of the calendar, we can type in lesson plan information, we can do student rosters, we can attach files to these calendar events.
Yep.
And then we have one as well for all of our school events, like all of our performances, where they take place, what time they take place at. So this gets crazy because it's Google. We can embed the HTML for this calendar into our website. So just the calendar that has all of the concerts and stuff is visible within all of our calendar apps, but then it also is on our website as a calendar that other parents can subscribe to. So we can simply just drag and drop stuff around in our calendar application, but then from the parents' end of things, they can actually have all of that stuff live updating on their phone.
With the password, whatever, right?
So it's password protected to get to that part of our website, but once you're there, you can click a button and it will subscribe your phone or your computer to that calendar feed.
And they get it on their calendar on their phone?
Automatically. They don't even have to put our events.
Ooh, I didn't know that either.
Same is true of our sectional schedule, but we do it a little bit differently because the teachers at our school need to know who the students are who are being polled and when, but that information, it's important that it's secure because we can't have first and last names public on our website. So we have a password protected calendar. It's a Google calendar, but all of our teachers can go to it and see which sectionals are happening and when, and they can hover over the sectional and see a roster of the students who are being pulled out from that class. So if a student is being sketchy and is saying, I've got to go to my clarinet sectional, they can just go to, our sectional calendar and hover over the period that it is. So this has basically been, all we do is we open our calendar app that we already have all of our other personal junk in, and we simply just add calendar events, put them in the right calendar, and then all that other stuff I just described is all automatically happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's amazing. So basically, the problem that you're describing is you accidentally put that concert on one of the calendars in our database that's not posting to the website.
Correct. Congratulations to me.
Well, and if it makes you feel any better, I put a dentist appointment into
publicly shared
actually I think so, yeah. One of my other colleagues caught it. He's like, hey, so you're seeing an insert name of dentist here on Saturday, right? And I'm like, how did you know that?
Was it a music teacher?
Yeah, from our school. Yeah.
I thought it was like a history teacher.
No, that would have been
hilarious
and embarrassing. Well, it was embarrassing either way, but yeah. So it's a really cool workflow. It is more essential that we have it because of the amount of collaboration that we do and because of that sectional calendar being so essential. But even if you just wanted to, as a choir or a band director, post a Google Calendar to your website, that is really easy to do. And then have your parents subscribe to it. So, I mean, and like the details of that are something that you can just Google search, like embed HTML Google Calendar to website, and they'll provide you with it's 3 steps how to do it. And it's all you're doing is you're just copying and pasting a bunch of code.
But you need to have a Gmail account to do that.
Yes. So like my iCloud account, which is where I put all my personal calendar stuff, to my knowledge, there is not a way to publish that stuff.
So you said you made one for our school. It's like a Gmail account for our school, and that's how we're publishing all those things.
It's a music staff account.
Right.
And all of those different accounts are like separate calendars within that one account.
Got it. Yeah. Cool.
So there's calendars. I mean, there's some stuff in the book too about just general productivity philosophies, like coming back to the OmniFocus thing, like a lot of people I see put tasks in their calendar. Mm-hmm. Do you ever do that?
No.
Okay.
On my phone I do.
It's similar. Yeah, it's similar to having all the overdue stuff in my OmniFocus inbox right now. Like, it's just noise. And I feel like it's more noisy when it's telling me that it's actually occupying time in my day
Right.
than when it's cluttering up a checklist of things.
Yeah, I have a to-do list in my reminders thing on my phone, and all of them are old, and I haven't updated them at all. Like, this is a prime example of me being completely useless.
So
I've been wanting to buy an HDMI to Lightning adapter for months. Haven't done that, but I did some of these.
So you're on the Reminders app on your iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
The Reminders app is actually, I feel like does not accomplish the same things organizationally as a task app like OmniFocus. But what it is really good at doing is dealing with tasks that need to be completed at a very specific time or place. Like the kinds of things I find myself putting in reminders are things like at 3 p.m. take medication.
Yeah.
Or like if I have a great one right now. We have an extracurricular symphony orchestra that meets every Tuesday and Thursday morning before school, and we need so many music stands for that we have to take the music stands out of the choir room, and I forget every day. So I have a reminder that goes off about 5 minutes before the end of the school day every Monday and Wednesday that goes off on my phone and says, you need to tell a student to wheel down a rack of music stands to the cafeteria.
Yep.
Every single day that goes off, and I still miss it sometimes, but it's like a really great way to manage those kinds of things. And I actually have recently switched from reminders to an app called Do, which is like a $5 or $6 app in the App Store. But it what it does that reminders doesn't do is it keeps bothering you. It keeps sending you notifications.
Do is like Todoist, right? I think my best friend just showed that to me.
So Todoist is more like OmniFocus. It's a more fully fledged task app with projects and due dates and deadlines, whereas Do is more like in the moment reminders. So create concert programs I would put in Todoist.
Okay.
Remind students to take the music stands down to the cafeteria at 3:05 p.m. is something I would put in Do, because it's time or location specific. It needs to, like, I need to know about it now. I need it to disrupt my work at that moment.
Okay.
Whereas to like making a concert program, that's something that fills the empty space in my calendar.
Yeah, like when you have free time.
Right.
Yeah.
Which we never do because we teach music. So so there's another problem. I mean, like, you can't, it doesn't matter if you organize all of your tasks in a task app like Todoist or OmniFocus if your calendar is actually completely full with blue, purple, and green and yellow bricks.
Every moment of every day.
And to that, I say, technology is not going to solve overcommitment. Mm-hmm. But I think most people know that. Well, maybe people don't. I feel like I didn't know that when I was hitting the peak of my enthusiasm over this software. I was just like, I can fill all of my time because my software will just tell me what to do and when. And then there was no when anymore. Yep. It was just blue and purple and red bricks of stuff in my calendar.
Right, because we teach even during our planning periods. We're teaching sectionals.
Right.
All day long.
Right.
Straight through. I mean, sometimes you don't even eat lunch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyway, this stuff helps. And since I said we would talk about contacts, might as well just mention contacts. Again, same exact thing. You can, on any computer, phone, any kind of device, you can plug in your credentials. Like, you can take your Exchange work email account and plug it into the contacts app on your phone, and you can get the whole database of all of the teachers in our district, so that when you're typing in someone's email address in the to field, it'll like auto complete it for you, which is something that most people don't do.
Helpful.
It is helpful. I mean, if I'm on the go, I teach in 5 different classrooms this year. If I need to email a teacher from my iPad, I need to have that data in the contacts app alongside. Right. And because it's on a per account basis, I also have my iCloud account calendars pumping through that same app. I'm looking in one app, the contacts app, and I'm getting all the contacts from every walk of life because those 2 accounts are both plugged into the same place.
Yep.
So email, calendars, and contacts all are similar in that regard. You basically have ways to access that data on the web, but then you have apps on your various different screens that can also look at that data.
I guess I didn't know that. I didn't know about the being able to plug things onto the web thing until now.
You mean?
Well, this year. Like calendar sharing stuff?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was all kind of a mystery to me this year, like how that was happening.
Right.
So I didn't realize that you could do that. So it's through HTML, you were saying?
The Google Calendar that we're sharing online.
Yeah.
Right. So in the settings of the Google Calendar, I go into an area. Basically, there's a space there's like an option called Publish, and then you choose which of the calendars you want to publish. You choose a couple of things about like what are the dimensions you want it to look like, what kind of buttons appear on it, and then you basically get an HTML code block that you copy and paste into the website. For us, we build our website on a service called Squarespace. It's like a WYSIWYG. It's what you see is what you get.
So the server that you're using needs to be compatible with, like, it needs to allow you to do HTML stuff?
Well, right. So Squarespace...
Like Weebly?
Yeah, Weebly is also considered a what you see is what you get kind of an interface. So, like, I don't use Weebly, but Squarespace, and I'd imagine Weebly, has a little button where you basically say, okay, instead of when I type words in here, showing those words, instead I'm going to put code in here, and you're just going to make it look pretty. So it's a code block.
And the making it look pretty stuff is in the code that Gmail gives you, or Google, whatever.
No. Yes. So the code, yes, Google in the calendar settings gives you the HTML code.
Cool. Didn't know that.
See, you're acting here like you don't know what's going on, and we just talked about publishing HTML code on a website so that our parents can have synced to their phones all of our concert dates.
That's because I'm a social chameleon. I'm just changing colors.
Is your bright pink hat matching? Are you trying to match the orange dining room wall behind you?
Yep. That was a low blow.
Yes, it was.
But these apples are tasty.
Yes, they are. How do you like this raw milk cheese?
The cheese is good. I was thinking about buying that. Yeah, if you've been... The crunching is me. Anyone who's listening.
Nice.
So there's that. Nice.
Yeah, nice. Is there anything else we should talk about? Any questions you have? I have one follow-up question, but I'll let you go first.
No, I mean, that was an like I was thinking. I can't really think of any. I didn't know what to expect, so...
Well, you survived.
I'm here to talk about it.
And you did it with style.
Thanks. This other Post-it note is also accomplished.
Okay, so I'm keeping tally. You've accomplished 3 tasks.
While sitting here.
Yeah.
What was the third?
Well, 2 of them were Post-it notes that you crumpled up.
What was the other?
I think you deleted an email.
Deleted a few, you just didn't realize.
Nice. So here's my follow-up.
All right.
Is there one technology that we discussed in this past 30, 40 minutes or so that you seriously...
Think about exploring.
Yes.
OmniFocus.
Oh, really? Okay.
Email is my most overwhelming thing. It's because I have a bad memory. And so I'm still hesitant about forwarding it and making a task out of an email because I already consider the email to be a task. So that's like a demon I would have to confront. But I think once I was willing to do that, it would be beneficial. Yeah.
Sweet.
Then it gets into the logistics of, like, because I'm a black and white person, I'm not going to use my personal laptop at school. How do I convince IT to let me have OmniFocus on my computer?
That is the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, because these new laptops are, like, locked or whatever they're called.
My answer, which is a non-answer because it doesn't solve your actual problem. My answer would be to use a personal laptop at school, but then just never open OmniFocus when I'm at home. The one major downside of OmniFocus is that they don't have a web app. Actually, there's a much better solution for this. So OmniFocus is like, I said this in the 2 episodes ago too, it's paid and it's expensive. I like it because it's expensive because they don't charge you per month. And they typically support the most recent version for like 7, 8, 9 years until they make you pay again.
Oh, cool.
It's a bunch though. I think the iPhone version is like $20. I mean, it's like in the Mac version is like priced like a professional piece of software, like $50, $60 or so. But Some of the other options available, Todoist is a great example. It doesn't have as many of the power features, but it has a web app, so you can use it on the web at school, even if you can't convince the IT people to let you download it.
I forget why we use Todoist.
So
why did we download that to begin with?
We, as a team, were trying to use Todoist because Todoist, one thing they have that OmniFocus does not have is the ability to share a project of tasks amongst different people.
I haven't opened this app in months. Is anybody using it?
No one is using it.
Okay.
Because one of the orchestra director at our school and I both use OmniFocus for personal lists of things to do.
Did you get him into that, or he already used it?
He used it like 10 years ago, but then got into the new version. Should we wrap this?
Yeah, I think we've wrapped it a while ago.
So, anything else before we...
No.
Okay, buy my book.
I should do that too.
Yeah, maybe I should give you one because, I work with you.
That should be the end of the podcast. And clicking the purchase button. What?
I think I can hook you up.
Cool.
All right.
Well, thank you for having me.
You got it. Bye.